Vets are warning of the dangers of chocolate for our pets this Easter as they brace for a big increase in cases of toxic illness. As a nation, it's estimated we buy around 80 million chocolate eggs every year, but they can have serious consequences for our furry friends. Joining us now is Dr. Anna Markey, a palliative care vet. Thank you for coming in. Nice to see you.
Thank you for having me.
What is it in chocolate that makes it dangerous for animals, not just dogs?
Yep. So what we have in chocolate is both a compound called theobromine and then also caffeine that basically, unlike people, dogs can't metabolize it, okay? And the same with cats. Cats, so it's actually more toxic to them. And what it actually does to the body is it essentially sends their central nervous system into haywire, so it increases the chemicals in there, it makes their heart pump more and faster than it usually would. And then we see some changes in their gut, and we also what it also does is makes them urinate a lot more than normal, okay, which can lead to dehydration.
Can they die?
Yes, they definitely can die. So it's, I mean, you've probably heard the saying before, it's the dose that makes the poison, okay? So let's say a small breed dog eats a whole packet of dark chocolate, or in this case at Easter time they could eat like a whole dark chocolate bunny, okay? That's enough to cause death, okay?
Does it depend on their breed, size, weight?
So it doesn't necessarily depend on their breed, but they could have underlying conditions such as cardiac disease or have a seizure disorder that makes them more likely to have the symptoms. But there's no specific breed that's predisposed to this, because it's more like the more curious the dog, the more likely they're going to eat the chocolate, okay? Yeah.
What treatment can they get at the vets?
So the first thing that we always do when they come in is they'll be triaged by a nurse, okay? So they'll put them in order of how dangerous the dose is, basically, and they'll bring them straight out to the vet to be assessed. And what the vet generally will want to do is what we call decontaminate. So we generally try to make them vomit up as much of the chocolate as possible if it's been consumed within 0 to 6 hours of presentation, okay? But the issue is that there's some breeds that obviously if we make them vomit, they're at, they're at risk of aspirating, so inhaling some of the vomit. So your squash-faced dogs and things like that, we have to be a little bit careful with.
And I guess when we're talking about dogs, they've probably eaten the wrappers too.
Yeah, and that's a big concern. And it's also the fat content as well. So say you get a dog that eats a whole block of milk chocolate, okay, like a Milky Bar or a big, bunny, white chocolate bunny. It's not really the toxic aspect of it. It's more, did they eat the wrapper as well, because that can cause an obstruction, or do they have a history of pancreatitis? So that's inflammation of the pancreas, and what eating a large fatty meal can do is set that off, and that in turn can actually be dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, you've worked in crisis environments when animals have been brought in. Is this time of the year a particularly busy time? Is there a big increase?
Well, there's studies that show it.
Yeah.
So this time of the year, so basically over this whole Easter weekend, and probably like the week or so afterwards, at least, because kids are hiding them and dogs are able to get into them, and also Christmas time. They're the two big times that we see chocolate toxicity occurring, and it's, well, to be honest, in Australia, it's our most common toxin that we see.
It's not just chocolate, though, at Easter time, is it? Because those hot cross buns can be dangerous.
Yeah, definitely. And it's one of those things, we've seen a lot of hot cross bun consumption over the last 3 days.
And that's because of the raisins, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So most people will also know that grapes are toxic, but the difficult thing with grapes, unlike chocolate, we know what causes the toxicity. In grapes, we have suspicions of what causes it. And if anything, yes, it also can cause death. It's just we can't tell you how much of a hot cross bun a dog can eat that will cause death, unfortunately, whereas we can tell you how much chocolate a dog can eat that will cause death.
Right, okay. What can people do? I mean, people do tend to be aware of it now, that dogs and cats shouldn't have chocolate. What do you say to people? What's the advice?
The most important thing is that you get to your pet to the vet as soon as possible.
And hide the chocolate.
Yeah, and hide the chocolate. That too. That'd help. Prevention is great, but unfortunately, I mean, a lot of the cases that we see, it's like kids that are hiding their chocolate away and storing them away. So we don't usually see it, like we're not seeing it before Easter as much. It's more like Easter hunts. They haven't picked up the chocolate. The dog will go find it themselves and things like that. Yeah.